Joshua took to social media to start berating Molly by claiming that she used cocaine. He tagged her family in the post to humiliate her even more. On June the 21st, 2017, Molly and her mother went to the police to get the slander removed from the internet. Molly, her friends and family blocked Joshua on all social media to prevent him from seeing her activity or contacting her. However, he was one step ahead. He had already manipulated a random girl to send Molly a friend request so he would be able to access all of her posts again. A few nights later, Molly posted on her social media that she was going to eat dinner with friends and named the specific club. Joshua was able to see her plans through the female's account and arrived at the same place. When Molly noticed him, she went to the bathroom and sent a photo to some of her friends, captioned, "That feeling when your ex shows up at the same club as you." On June the 29th, 2017, Molly woke up early and went to her gym to post an Instagram video of her workout routine. Shortly after her arrival, Joshua shockingly made his way inside the same gym and positioned himself closely to Molly. When she noticed his presence, she paused her workout and texted her friend to notify her. She eventually worked up the courage to ask why he wasn't at work, and he replied by saying it wasn't any of her business. Joshua